Does the weight that you use for an exercise actually make a difference in how effective it is for stimulating muscle growth? A lot of people would probably say yes, and they would actually be right. Kind of. The weight that we use for an exercise does matter in a sense, but probably not in the way that you might think. In order for us to understand how the weight matters, we first need to understand how a muscle is even stimulated to grow. In order to stimulate our body to produce an increase in muscular size and muscular strength, we first need to challenge our muscles' ability to perform their function, which is not to produce movement, but to produce force. Force that can be used to either produce movement or to prevent our body from moving. And we do this by contracting our muscles against a level of resistance that is challenging enough to deeply fatigue our muscles within a relatively short time. Now, when we pick up a weight, in order for our bodies to be able to lift that weight or to just be able to hold it statically, our muscles, of course, have to produce force. And up to a point, if we have a certain amount of force, for your muscles to be able to produce that force, energy is being used. And the motor units inside of your muscles, which are basically bundles or collections of muscle fibers, will get fatigued. And as those motor units fatigue, their ability to produce force decreases. And so your body has to recruit even more motor units in order to be able to keep producing the required amount of force in order to be able to lift or to hold that weight. But then those motor units will also get fatigued, and so your body will have to recruit even more motor units. And at some point, your body will have recruited all of the motor units inside of that muscle. And when those motor units have been recruited and fatigued, they have been stimulated to grow and get stronger. Now, we want the weight that we pick to be heavy enough so that we can reach momentary muscular failure within about 1 to 2 minutes of time under load of exercise duration. And just to be clear, momentary muscle failure is when you are physically incapable of continuing the positive portion, the lifting portion of the exercise in proper form. Now, the reason we want to achieve momentary muscle failure within about 1 to 2 minutes is because we want to be contracting our muscles against the resistance for an adequate amount of time in order for us to be able to recruit all of the muscle fibers or motor units in the muscles, and also to deeply fatigue them, which, like I said, is going to be necessary in order to stimulate them. Now, if this is our goal, achieving momentary muscle failure within about 1 to 2 minutes, then what happens if we pick a weight that is too light? Well, then what will happen is that too few motor units will be recruited. Your body will recruit some motor units and they will take a while to fatigue. And when they eventually have fatigued, your body will recruit even more motor units and they will also take a while to fatigue. But by the time those motor units have been fatigued, because it has taken so long for them to fatigue, because the resistance is so low, some of the motor units that were recruited previously will already have recovered. And so your body will just recruit those again. And this process just basically ends up happening on repeat, and you never really end up getting to the end and actually recruiting all of the motor units in the muscle. And so you're really not going to get a very good stimulus. But what happens if we pick a weight that is too heavy then? Well, when we increase the weight, we also automatically increase the forces encountered in the exercise. Now, this we do not want, because as the forces go up, so does our risk of injury. And so the weight matters in the sense that we need a weight that is heavy enough so that we can achieve momentary muscle failure within a relatively short time. Again, 1 to 2 minutes. But we do not want the weight to be any lighter than what we need to do that, because of the reasons that I explained earlier, and we also do not want it to be any heavier than what we need to do just that, because we want to stay far away from that threshold of force where we start to cause damage or risk causing an acute injury. And so that is it, guys. That is how the weight matters. It doesn't matter in the sense that if you were to just lift a heavy weight a couple of times, you would automatically build muscle because the weight is heavy, but it does matter in the sense that we want a weight that is heavy enough that we can reach our desired level of intensity, which is momentary muscle failure, within our desired time frame, which is 1 to 2 minutes, so that we can stimulate optimal increases in muscle size and muscle strength. But we do not want the weight to be any heavier or any lighter than what is required to do just that. But anyways, guys, that's all for this video. I really hope you guys found it interesting, and I also really hope you guys found it useful. And if you felt like this video was at least a little bit useful, then please don't forget to at least like this video. And if you want to see more videos like this from me in the future with more useful fitness tips, then also don't forget to click that subscribe and also ring that notification bell so you can be notified the next time I upload. But with that being said, like always, I'll see you guys in the next video next time. Peace.